Greetings from Revealing the Hidden, and hope you are safe and sound in your own places. And in this session, we are going to discuss why people have a hesitancy to get married, or what are the hindrances to get married, because nowadays youngsters are thinking twice or thrice before getting married. In the previous time, it was a trend that once the education get over, the
Get
boy or
settled,
girl,
yeah.
yes, they think of settlement. But now people think, should I settle with a marriage or should I have any other plans?
Correct.
What do you think about it, Bonnie?
I think we are evolving as a human race, and that evolution has also played a role in the way how we relate.
Right.
And because that has been impacting our relationships, if we all would understand that as we grow from childhood, when we had a lot of friends when we were in school, then it kind of reduced when we were in college, then it kept reducing, and then the kind of people we knew, a lot of people who were close to us, the number kept reducing and reducing and reducing. And then as we kind of grow more and more, all of those people also experienced the same thing.
Right.
And each of them started to be more busy with their work, with their family life. So your close friends kept on decreasing.
Right.
And the relationship between them also kind of, you would not have 50 friends, but you would have 5 close friends, 5 friends with whom you'll always interact with, and those kind of things. Now that is exactly how it is playing also in a marriage life, where as we evolve as people, there are situations and times that when the reason why many people don't want to get into marriage is because they know that their shift may not be something that they will be satisfied with.
Right.
Or they may not be able to go smoothly on that shift, because suddenly the room that was all yours now has to be shared.
Right.
And because that sharing happens, it is not just sharing, it's also an authority where somebody else will now start questioning why you have kept something like this, and why you do this and why you do that. So these kind of things starts to play, and suddenly the life that you had, which was on you were the king, suddenly now comes under scrutiny, and scrutiny in close quarters, because something that people did not know, now one person is knowing, and
you are
exposed to another level. So many times people are not wary of wanting to allow that exposure to happen. Some people let that exposure happen, but not with responsibility, wherein in living relationships those exposures do happen, or when you have your friends to stay or something like that, those exposures do happen. But what fear gets created in the minds of a lot of people is, what if I fail? Or what if I fail like how my friend failed? Or what if I fail like how my idol or my hero in the Bollywood or any other industry failed? We are hearing about so many divorce cases or divorce stories that keep coming up, and it's like every other day, this person tied the knot, the other person decided to untie. So it's like tie and untie, and what's happening is, yes, it's a little difficult to digest for somebody who's getting married, is because nowadays getting married is not easy, staying married is much more difficult.
Right.
So staying married is something that everybody feels, we crossed 25 years, but nothing is easy. Even those 25 years or 10 years or even 5 years, and many times you have separation or decisions of separation starting to happen with the first night of marriage. To such an extent we have evolved, and that is the reason where we need to look back to where we came from. And I think the biggest hindrance in marriage is because when two people get married, and this is the way how I believe it is, when two people get married, they get married under a higher authority, but when they decide to separate, they don't have that authority. They don't let that authority tell them again. When they want to join, they come under the higher power, but when they want to separate, they don't take agreement or counseling from the higher power. And that is where the marriage fails. Is marriage was not supposed to be just with one person, it was supposed to be via the higher authority. And it's a marriage between more like a triangle, not like a straight line, because like a husband and a wife, it's not a straight line, it's more like a triangle where both are equally accountable to the higher authority who has joined them. And so it's more like a triangle, that's how I see marriage. But when separation happens, that apex point is removed. And because that is removed, strain happens between these two. They were not meant to stay strong if it is, just 2 points. But the moment you have a triangle, the entire frame gets strength.
Beautifully you illustrated how the marriage can be strained. And more than that, I would say the main issues what the youngsters have is they want the freedom. And it's seen in marriage that the freedom is curtailed.
True.
And marriage is something to do with submission, whereas people doesn't want to submit. And I would say that can be a major reason that people doesn't want to get married. Even boy or girl, I'm talking from both sides. If we talk about, okay, girl, I understand their full freedom is curtailed. Even if boy, I know boys who go for long trips, he doesn't want to get married because his expenditure is more, or his wife says no, his freedom of traveling is curtailed. And another reason that particular person told me is, whatever I'm earning, now I'm spending for me. Now once I get married, whatever I'm earning, I need to spend for her.
Also.
So there is a financial burden that assumed burden, they cannot take it up. And another point that come up during the sessions is that when the children come, its expenditure is much more. So it's not about me, it's about we. Correct. So my expenditure or concentration of me has been reduced, where I need to take care of the spouse, whichever gender it is, and the children those coming up. So I don't want to do that. Okay. So that can be a reason. And I would say parental figure play an important role for anyone to get married. If your parents having a very good relationship, I'm 100% sure that children will never say that they don't want to get married. Understand, if the children are telling that they don't want marriage, they have seen what is hidden in front of others, but they have seen what is happening inside the four walls. So that actually, that the parenting channel I speak because parents play an important role, not only in children, because these children become adults and they're going to repeat the same thing. And I know that if any kind of domestic violence is there in the family, the children evolving out from the family doesn't have any hesitancy to practice, because this is what they have seen and it's accepted as normality for them. So I would say that is another reason. And another thing I would say, that when two people come from two different backgrounds, they're actually extremely opposite. Even I have noticed, what is the kind of life you had spent before marriage, usually it's extremely opposite. So a mental preparation is very much needed. For that, actually we need to train the youngsters. It is nothing to worry. If it's anything to worry, our parents will not bring us to this world. Correct. If all these people can carry on with their family life and have a peaceful death, that is, they're moving on from this earth, why can't we? There is nothing to worry about it. It is how I'm going to have my mental status or my mindfulness to take over what I'm supposed to have. True. So I would say marriage counseling can really prepare them to get married. There is nothing to be panic on, because I know fisherman also can have a normal life, or the person who's having very low income also can have a good married life. It is not about the money you are building the family. It is much beyond that. It is the peace what you are bringing in between two people. And if there is a person who's having a spouse to support, actually also they can reach to any level. It's nothing to do with your education or occupation or the fun you're having. It is much beyond that. And we become a role model to our children, whereas they just follow. That's why when we get married, usually we think about alliance from good houses, where there is no divorce, or there is no suicide, or there is no any mental issues. This is because some kind of discrepancy is happening in the normal order. What is happening? For that, actually, our parents are thinking of not to have, but actually I'm against of all these things. But I always think why parents always go for this kind of family, because I don't want my son or daughter to be affected in my absence, because I cannot assure that I'm alive till the death of my son or my daughter.
Correct.
So you need to avoid that. For our goodness, our parents are thinking for all those points.
Very true.
Anything else to be added
Yes,
on it?
I think really it's a nice thing, because I'm not saying that people who experience negativity in marriage, so marriage is bad. What I only see it is how you're looking at it, because when we speak about evolution, we also speak about man earlier was just trying to burn one set of firewood, but now man is able to burn firewood up in space as well.
Right.
In the sense that that same fire that he was burning to eat food is not the same fire that is helping him to go to the next planet. And if that is happening, then also there has to be a term that is called balance, because as you said, people who feel, or people who kind of wonder or have a question mark or a hindering thought that how will I be able to manage, let us understand that we are supposed to be managers, we're supposed to be leaders. It's in our DNA to rule, it's in our DNA to reign, and it is not by accident that you are born, because science also says out of 1 billion you were that one that became a child, and you conceived and you got through that entire cycle, which means there is something greater in you right from when you were just one cell. Yes, which means that greatness lies in you. So if you fear and if you start questioning and doubting your own ability of starting a family, then that is not doing justice to your authority as a person and as a creation. Second is, we also wonder about what's going to happen, and how whether I'll be able to, whether my finances will be supportive or not. But if you look around, it's not about you, it's about when you have two people coming together. It's not about a single person running the house, it's about two people running the house together, and it's about the husband and the wife holding one post and managing it. And that is exactly where partnership, balancing, that starts to play. And as you also mentioned earlier, the reason, one of the hindrances is, how can I trust a new person I've not known, and the past of that person plays a big important role. And especially in arranged marriages, we just go to a site and we see the family, and we see, okay, everything looks good on the outside, and we end up judging on the outside because we don't have knowledge on the inside. Though there are we kind of figure out and ask questions and everything, but everything looks good. It's only as the date nears marriage and all those trouble starts, because two people who are different in their own ways have some similarities, and because of similarities they come together. But then they start to realize that we are similar, but we also are different. Our opinions are different. Our likings may not always be the same. At the same time, when they start getting married, when they start figuring their lives out, they need to also understand that each other is important for the other. When the husband goes to work, the wife is not sitting alone at home. Or when the wife is also working, and when they have children, they both are pillars of the house. If out of 4 pillars, if one pillar gets broken for whatever reason, everybody in the house gets vacated, because not because the house fell down, but because the ceiling and 3 pillars is not going to work. You need to have all the support system. So what I see is, marriage is not just between two people, it's also obviously superior authority, but at the same time, marriage also has to have a support system. The reason why we kind of question whether to marry or not to marry is only because we don't see a support system happening when the entire foundation is shaking. When there is a small petty argument, or a fight or something like that, and you think, why did I get married to you? I should not have got married to you, or I should there were so many people whom I could have got married to. But we need to understand, once we take the decision, it's our commitment. Once we take the decision, it's our responsibility. Once we take that decision, it's a balancing act that we need to do. And as I said before, we are leaders, so we are managers in that way. So when we take it up, our body is designed to be able to handle that pressure.
Right.
If the way how mankind evolved was not by running away from wild animals, but by learning to tame the wild animals.
Right.
So if that can happen, something that can eat you alive, if that can happen, then all the other things can also be managed only when our perspective towards that position starts to shift, and we start to realize, yes, I got married, yes, there is a financial issue. You have so many stories on the net where very acute financial situations, but when the husband and the wife stuck together, and especially spiritually speaking, when they prayed, when they rallied, when they had a support system, that marriage became a success. So I think in marriage, just like how we and this is what I want to share is, we all go to celebrate two people getting married in a ceremony in a church or whichever place, but we need to also rally around married people to be their support system.
Right.
Because when two people get married on the stage, and when you have a crowd coming and eating in a buffet, lovely food and everything and dancing, we forget that the marriage has started there and they need our support even when they go and start living their life. So I think marriage is more a community, more a society, to build an immunity from the inside as a support system.
You literally said in a very good way, even though you are not married. I really love the way you spoke about marriage. I want to add a little more to it, that there are people who has fear in them that whether they are able to satisfy their partner. So this is also a great fear. Means before entering the marriage, am I able to completely satisfy my spouse?
Correct.
So actually there is nothing to fear on that. It is that what I am going to give you, if both people are going to do everything for the first time, there is no comparison with the outside thing.
True.
So with that you can avoid those things. Second thing is, what you're seeing in pornography or what you're seeing in movies is not reality. Reality is actually something different, whereas in media it is it's like doubled and tripled effect, and you can't expect in marriage like that. So I would say that is another hint, is that youngsters doesn't want to get married out of the fear.
True.
Then another point I would like to add is a paranoid delusion what the spouse can have. This girl might have slept with so many people and have come, or this man might have slept with so many people, I'm one among them.
Sure.
So I would say this can be a reason for not getting married, but we cannot open and look what is inside a person. My mother always tells to me, we cannot unstitch and see what is inside before getting married. We are seeing what is outside, and we feel the family is good, he looks or she looks good, that's why we go, and the character is good, what is shown character is good, that's why we go for a marriage. So I would say, if you have any kind of doubt or anything, you need to remove it first before entering into marriage, because more than that we cannot do anything.
True.
All can be cheated. When we really know that. Another proverb to our, when you eat a mango, when you go near to that the seed, we'll understand how much sour it is. So we cannot do anything. The life is like that with everyone.
True.
So I would say we had spoken a huge topic. A large number of points has been contributed why youngsters doesn't want to get married or doesn't feel like getting married, or they may opt for a live-in relationship without a burden on their head. But marriage is the constitution, as you said, that it is ordered from the time humankind has been evolved. So I would say we have discussed very nicely for all the youngsters, addressing almost every clues what we got for the previous sessions from other youngsters we had. If you have any other doubts, please feel free to contact us and be connected. We are here to help you in one or other way. Till we are coming with the next session of the same topic, goodbye and be happy. Thank you.